The Catalyst. In the heart of a bustling intergalactic city, Alex Walker sat at his desk in the Union's Grand Legal Office. The walls were lined with awards and diplomas, all showcasing the great achievements of the Union. Outside, ships of all shapes and sizes soared through the sky, weaving in and out of the dazzling lights of the city. But Alex wasn't looking at the view. He was deep in thought, staring at a stack of documents. Today was supposed to be just another day. Alex had a long list of cases to review and meetings to attend. Yet, a feeling of unease settled in his chest. He couldn't shake the sense that something was off. It was a quiet morning, too quiet for the usually lively office. Suddenly, the comms panel on his desk beeped loudly, breaking the silence. "Alex, you need to see this," shouted Maria, his assistant, through the intercom. Her voice was laced with urgency. "What's going on?" Alex replied, instantly alert. "Come to the main conference room." "Now," Maria urged. Without wasting a second, Alex grabbed his tablet and rushed to the conference room. As he entered, he saw Maria and a few other colleagues gathered around a large holographic display. The room was tense, and the air felt heavy with anxiety. "What's happening?" Alex asked, his heart racing. Maria pointed to the hologram. "We've intercepted communications from a rogue alien faction. They're planning something big, something that could shake the entire Union." The hologram displayed a chaotic scene of ships and figures that flickered in and out of focus. Alex squinted, trying to make sense of the data. "They call themselves the Zarkans," Maria continued. "They believe they can challenge our authority and break away from the Union. They're preparing to expose our weaknesses in court, and they have evidence that could turn public opinion against us." Alex's mind raced. What kind of evidence? Illegal activities and decisions that some leaders in the Union might have made. "They're claiming we've been corrupt and mismanaging resources," Maria explained. The room fell silent. Everyone exchanged worried glances. Alex felt a wave of anger rise within him. The Union had always stood for justice and order in the galaxy. How could anyone accuse them of wrongdoing? "We can't let them get away with this," Alex declared, his voice firm. "We need to gather evidence of our own. We must show the galaxy that the Union is not only strong but also fair." "We need to act fast," Maria said, her eyes wide with concern. "They plan to announce their claims in just a few days. If we don't respond, the damage could be done." Alex nodded. The clock was ticking. "Let's assemble a team. We'll need the best minds on this. We have to counter their claims before they gain any traction." As the team discussed strategies, Alex felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. This was no longer just a legal case. It was a battle for the very soul of the Union. He knew that if they lost, it wouldn't just affect their office. It would impact countless lives across the galaxy. The team worked late into the night. They combed through records, legal documents, and news reports, looking for anything that could help them build a strong case. Alex could see the exhaustion on everyone's faces, but their determination never wavered. The next day, they gathered again, this time with new information. One of the junior lawyers, Kevin, spoke up. "I found something interesting. A group of Zarkans has been operating a black market trade, something they're not disclosing to the public. If we can prove that, it could damage their credibility." "Great work, Kevin," Alex exclaimed. "We need to dig deeper into this. Find out who is involved and gather any evidence we can. This could be our ace in the hole." Days turned into a blur of meetings, late-night discussions, and endless research. Tension grew in the office as the announcement from the Zarkans drew nearer. But through it all, Alex felt a flicker of hope. They were on the right path. One evening, as the team wrapped up for the day, Alex stood by the window and looked out at the city. The stars shone brightly in the night sky. He felt a surge of determination. They would fight for their Union, for the truth, and for all the lives that depended on it. "Tomorrow, we face them head-on," Alex said, turning back to the team. "No matter what happens, we will show them that we are not afraid. We are the Union, and we will not back down." As they all nodded in agreement, Alex knew that the battle was just beginning. The Zarkans might think they had the upper hand, but they were about to find out what it truly meant to challenge humanity. The opposition. The morning of the Zarkan announcement arrived, bringing with it a sense of dread that hung in the air like a thick fog. Alex Walker stood in the conference room, surrounded by his team, his heart racing with a mixture of anxiety and determination. They had worked tirelessly to prepare for this day, and now it was time to face the storm head-on. "Are we ready?" Alex asked, looking around the room. His colleagues nodded, but he could see the tension in their faces. Maria, his assistant, was furiously typing notes on her tablet, while Kevin shuffled through papers, ensuring every detail was accounted for. "Remember, we're not just defending ourselves," Alex continued, trying to inject confidence into the group. "We're showing the galaxy what the Union stands for. We believe in justice and equality. Let's make sure our voices are heard." As the team gathered their materials, the holographic display in the room flickered to life, showing the bustling Zarkan city where the announcement was set to take place. Alex could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him. It was crucial that they not only counter the Zarkans' claims, but also present their own evidence. The team made their way to the central court, where representatives from both sides would face off in a highly publicized hearing. The chamber was packed with reporters, journalists, and spectators from across the galaxy, all eager to witness the unfolding drama. Alex took a deep breath as he stepped inside, feeling the energy of the crowd wash over him. At the front of the chamber, the Zarkan leaders stood confidently, their alien forms imposing and their expressions smug. The chief representative, a tall figure with sharp features and a commanding presence, stepped forward to address the crowd. "Today marks a new chapter in our history," the Zarkan leader proclaimed, his voice booming. "We, the Zarkans, are here to expose the corruption of the human Union. For too long, we have been silenced while the Union exploits its power and neglects the rights of its citizens." Gasps filled the chamber as the audience reacted to the bold statements. Alex felt his heart race as the Zarkan leader continued, presenting their claims with carefully crafted arguments and fabricated evidence. It was a calculated attack designed to undermine the Union's credibility. "Look at the evidence," the Zarkan leader shouted, displaying holographic images that seemed to depict human ships involved in illegal trade. "This is the truth that we can no longer ignore. The Union has betrayed its own people." As the Zarkan leader spoke, Alex's mind raced. He knew their claims were built on lies, but they had to expose the truth without losing control of the narrative. He exchanged quick glances with Maria and Kevin, who were already preparing to respond. Finally, it was Alex's turn to speak. He stepped forward, the weight of the moment heavy on his shoulders. The audience hushed as he began to address the crowd. "Honorable representatives and citizens of the galaxy," Alex started, his voice steady. "Today, we face a challenge not only to our Union, but to the very principles of truth and justice. The claims made by the Zarkans are not only false, but they are also an attempt to distract from their own misdeeds." He gestured to the holographic display behind him, bringing up evidence they had gathered over the past few days. "We have discovered that the Zarkans have been involved in illegal activities themselves. This includes black market trading, which puts countless lives at risk. Their efforts to paint themselves as victims are simply a facade to hide their own corruption." The audience murmured, some shocked by the new information. Alex pressed on, feeling the energy of the room shift. "Our Union believes in accountability and transparency. We have always worked to ensure the safety and prosperity of all species under our care. The Zarkans are not only misleading you, but are also threatening the stability of the very galaxy we all share." Maria stepped in next, presenting further evidence that detailed the Zarkans' operations and connections to known criminal factions. Kevin added his findings about the illegal activities they had uncovered, and together, They built a compelling case against their opponents. As the hearing continued, it became clear that the Zarkans were not prepared for such a strong counterattack. The audience was captivated, and Alex could see some of the Zarkan supporters beginning to waver in their beliefs. "Done!" Maria exclaimed just as the door burst open. She quickly pressed a button, and a holographic message shot into the air, broadcasting their situation to anyone who could receive it. "We need backup." Before the soldiers could see them, Alex grabbed a nearby chair and hurled it at the doorway, catching one of the soldiers off guard. The soldier stumbled, allowing Alex, Maria, and Kevin a moment to scramble past him into the hallway. "Go!" Alex shouted, and they sprinted down the corridor, hearts racing as they dodged around corners and ducked under emergency barriers. The sounds of chaos echoed behind them, but they pressed on, fueled by the desperate need to escape. They reached an emergency exit at the end of the hall. Alex pushed through the door, and they found themselves outside in the bright sunlight. The courtyard was filled with confusion, Zarkan soldiers moving in and out, chasing after fleeing civilians. "We need to blend in," Maria shouted, scanning the area. "Look for a crowd." Alex nodded and led them toward a group of panicked people rushing toward a transport shuttle. They slipped into the throng, keeping their heads down and their faces hidden. Suddenly, a loudspeaker blared over the chaos. "Zarkan soldiers are ordered to apprehend all human suspects. Any resistance will be met with force." "They're looking for us," Kevin hissed, panic in his eyes. Alex felt a surge of determination. "We can't let them capture us. We need to find a way to defend ourselves and get the truth out." As they pushed through the crowd, Alex's mind raced. They had to turn the tide, not just for themselves, but for the Union. If they could expose the Zarkans' deceit, they could prevent a full-scale war. Spotting a nearby transport shuttle, Alex pointed. "That one. If we can reach it, we might be able to escape to safety." With renewed energy, they dashed toward the shuttle, weaving through the panicked crowd. Just as they reached the door, a loud explosion rocked the courtyard, throwing them off balance. Alex fell to the ground, his vision blurred. He glanced up to see Zarkan soldiers moving in their direction, weapons raised. He scrambled to his feet, adrenaline pumping as he shouted to his team. "Inside. Now." They dove into the shuttle, slamming the door shut behind them. Inside, the pilot was frantic, trying to start the engines. "Get us out of here," Alex shouted. With the shuttle's engines roaring to life, they took off into the sky, leaving the chaos of the Zarkan court behind. But as they soared higher, Alex knew this was just the beginning of their fight. They had to gather allies, expose the truth, and show the galaxy that the Union was not the enemy, but rather the force for peace they had always claimed to be. "You said, the fight for truth." The shuttle shuddered as it broke through the atmosphere, leaving the chaos of the Zarkan court behind. Alex Walker sat in the cockpit beside the frantic pilot, while Maria and Kevin took a seat in the back, trying to catch their breath. "We need to find a safe place to regroup," the pilot said, his voice tense. "The Zarkan fleet will be searching for us." "Just get us out of here," Alex replied, glancing at the monitors. "We need to warn the Union about what's happening." Maria leaned forward, her eyes filled with determination. "We have to reach the nearest Union outpost. They need to know the Zarkans are planning something big." Kevin nodded, his expression serious. "But how can we convince them? They might not believe us without proof." As the shuttle sped through space, Alex felt a surge of resolve. "We'll get proof. We need to intercept the Zarkan communications. If we can gather evidence of their plans, we can show the Union they are not to be trusted." The pilot focused on navigating through the stars, scanning the nearby systems for a safe location. "There's a small outpost on the moon of Elysia. We can land there and try to gather intel." "Let's do it," Alex said, gripping the edge of his seat. "We don't have much time." "Of course," Alex replied, a surge of determination flowing through him. "We won't let you down." The council adjourned, and as the representatives began to leave the chamber, Alex felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were standing together against a common threat, and he knew they had a chance to protect their home. Outside the chamber, the atmosphere buzzed with energy. Soldiers and civilians alike were preparing for the coming challenges. Alex, Maria, and Kevin rallied their team, ready to take on the task ahead. As they gathered their supplies, Alex felt a sense of unity among them. They were not just individuals anymore. They were part of something greater, a movement to protect their people. "Let's get to work," Maria said, her voice steady. "We need to stay one step ahead of the Zarkans." Together, they set off, ready to gather intelligence and fortify their defenses. The weight of their mission pressed on them, but they were determined. They had chosen to fight for their future, and they would not back down. As the sun set over the horizon, casting a golden glow over the Union, Alex felt a flicker of hope. They would stand strong against the Zarkan threat, united as one. And no matter the challenges that lay ahead, they would face them together. "You said, the first strike." The days turned into a blur of preparation as Alex, Maria, and Kevin worked tirelessly to gather intelligence on the Zarkan Empire. Their days were filled with strategy meetings, reconnaissance missions, and late-night briefings. Every moment was spent planning for the inevitable confrontation. The Union's forces had mobilized quickly, and the atmosphere in the capital was electric with urgency. Ships filled the skies as they departed for the border, while soldiers trained hard, readying themselves for what could come. Despite the overwhelming odds, there was a sense of unity among the people. They had chosen to fight, and they were prepared to defend their home at all costs. One evening, as they reviewed the latest intel in their makeshift command center, Maria frowned at the holographic display. "These Zarkan movements are strange. They seem to be pulling back in some areas but reinforcing others. It's like they're playing a game with us." Kevin leaned closer, studying the map. "Maybe they're trying to trick us. If we move our forces to engage, they could flank us from behind." Alex nodded, the weight of the situation heavy on his shoulders. "We need to be cautious. We can't afford to be caught off guard. If they are planning something, we need to know what it is." Just then, a commotion erupted outside the command center. Alex and his team exchanged worried glances and hurried to the door. The sight that met them was shocking. Soldiers were rushing to their posts, shouting orders, and the atmosphere was tense. "What's happening?" Maria asked a passing officer. "The Zarkans have crossed the border." The officer yelled back, "They're attacking our outposts." Alex's heart raced as he processed the news. "We have to act now, gather the team, and get to the front lines." The trio rushed back inside, gathering their gear and organizing their team. "We've prepared for this," Kevin said, determination in his voice. "We can't let them take us by surprise." As they boarded their ship, Alex felt a surge of adrenaline. They were about to face the enemy they had been preparing for, and the reality of battle was finally sinking in. He glanced at Maria and Kevin, their expressions steely and focused. Together, they would face whatever came their way. The flight to the front lines was filled with tension. The crew listened to radio reports of skirmishes as they approached the border. The Union's defenses were holding, but they were being pushed hard. They could see flashes of light in the distance as laser fire lit up the night sky. When they arrived, the scene was chaotic. Ships were engaged in dogfights overhead, while ground forces clashed in the dirt below. Alex felt his heart race as he witnessed the battle unfold. It was a surreal sight, and he couldn't shake the feeling of dread as they landed. "Let's move," Alex shouted, leading his team out of the ship and into the fray. Soldiers were everywhere, moving swiftly, strategizing as they fought to hold their ground. "Over here," a familiar voice called. It was Captain Voss, a seasoned soldier who had been instrumental in training their forces. He waved them over. "We need to establish a defense line. The Zarkans are trying to push through the northern flank." Alex, Maria, and Kevin rushed to his side, their eyes scanning the battlefield. "What's the status?" Alex asked, trying to absorb everything happening around him. "We're holding for now, but they have numbers. We need to flank them before they breach our lines," Voss replied. "We need all hands on deck." With a determined nod, Alex took charge. "Let's gather our team and set up a counterattack. We can't let them break through." They quickly rallied their forces, positioning themselves along the northern flank. Alex felt the weight of responsibility as he directed his soldiers, knowing that their actions could turn the tide of the battle. As the Zarkans advanced, Alex's heart pounded in his chest. He could see the enemy soldiers, a mix of advanced technology and brute force. They were formidable, but he knew they had the advantage of preparation and unity. "On my signal," Alex shouted, watching the enemy movements. The Zarkans were pushing hard, trying to breach the defenses. He could feel the tension in the air, thick with anticipation. "Now," he yelled, and his team opened fire. Laser blasts lit up the night as they targeted the advancing Zarkans, a combination of strategy and precision. They worked together seamlessly, flanking the enemy and pushing them back. The battle raged on, and Alex felt the adrenaline surging through him. He fought alongside his comrades, each moment a fight for their future. They were united in purpose, and it fueled their determination. As the hours passed, the tide began to turn. The Zarkans, despite their numbers, were struggling against the relentless push from the Union forces. With every successful counterattack, Alex felt a surge of hope. They were holding their ground. But just as victory seemed within reach, a new wave of Zarkan soldiers emerged, led by a towering figure in advanced armor. The sight sent a chill down Alex's spine. "Fall back," he shouted. "We need to regroup." The Zarkan leader charged forward, and Alex could see the intensity in their eyes. This was no ordinary soldier. This was a commander. They had to stop them before they could rally their forces. With a desperate determination, Alex led his team into the fray once more. The battle was far from over, but they would stand their ground. They were humanity's last defense, and they would fight until their last breath. "We're holding for now, but they have numbers. We need to flank them before they breach our lines," Voss replied. "We need all hands on deck." With a determined nod, Alex took charge. "Let's gather our team and set up a counterattack. We can't let them break through." They quickly rallied their forces, positioning themselves along the northern flank. Alex felt the weight of responsibility as he directed his soldiers, knowing that their actions could turn the tide of the battle. As the Zarkans advanced, Alex's heart pounded in his chest. He could see the enemy soldiers, a mix of advanced technology and brute force. They were formidable, but he knew they had the advantage of preparation and unity. "On my signal," Alex shouted, watching the enemy movements. The Zarkans were pushing hard, trying to breach the defenses. He could feel the tension in the air, thick with anticipation. "Now," he yelled, and his team opened fire. Laser blasts lit up the night as they targeted the advancing Zarkans, a combination of strategy and precision. They worked together seamlessly, flanking the enemy and pushing them back. The battle raged on, and Alex felt the adrenaline surging through him. He fought alongside his comrades, each moment a fight for their future. They were united in purpose, and it fueled their determination. As the hours passed, the tide began to turn. The Zarkans, despite their numbers, were struggling against the relentless push from the Union forces. With every successful counterattack, Alex felt a surge of hope. They were holding their ground. But just as victory seemed within reach, a new wave of Zarkan soldiers emerged, led by a towering figure in advanced armor. The sight sent a chill down Alex's spine. "Fall back," he shouted. "We need to regroup." The Zarkan leader charged forward, and Alex could see the intensity in their eyes. This was no ordinary soldier. This was a commander. They had to stop them before they could rally their forces. With a desperate determination, Alex led his team into the fray once more. The battle was far from over, but they would stand their ground. They were humanity's last defense, and they would fight until their last breath.